So Valentine's Day is coming up, and of course women out there will want the jewellery, the flowers and chocolates, but what they really want is a smooth playing surface, and that's what we're going to give them, men, thanks to Manscaped. And the best gift anyone can get for Valentine's Day or otherwise is the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra. And this electric trimmer features skin-safe technology, guarding your V-Day treasure against any grooming mishaps. And it also comes with their brightest LED spotlight yet, so when you switch it on, get a bit of, yeah? And also, like, you know, if you're like wandering in the middle of the night and there's like a burglar downstairs, just find him with this. So multitasking. And this is perfect for precise grooming, even in the trickiest of spots. And it's waterproof, making shower grooming a breeze. And that's not all we're getting on Valentine's Day. No! This package also features the Weed Whacker 2.0 nose hair trimmer, Manscaped's liquid formulations, and 2 free goodies, the Shed travel bag and the Boxers 2.0. And for a happy ending, there's the Manscaped refined cologne. So set the stage with Manscaped, lads, and make sure that your romantic celebration goes extra smoothly. And the best bit is you will get 20% off and free shipping when you use my code TRUE, that's TRUE, block caps, all one word, TRUE, at manscaped.com. So thanks to Manscaped for giving me the smoothest balls in the world, and now, enjoy the video. Now, as a content creator, we do just want to entertain you lot, keep the views coming in, and keep everyone happy. But occasionally, I do like to step outside of that and talk to the young men who message me all the time on social media and try and drop a little knowledge to help them in any way I can. Now, with it being Valentine's Day, I thought that I could do a video that helps men know what they should be looking for in their long-term partner. And to be fair, this video probably works for both men and women in terms of just basic qualities that I think you should be looking for in your person. But obviously I'm going to talk about it from a man's point of view, and occasionally I will mention things that women do that might not be great. But generally, it's a bit of a celebration of the great qualities that I've come across in women, starting off with my mother. And I've met a lot of great women in my life, and I'm very lucky to have had so many of them in my life play a role so that I now can pass on this to you lads. And the reason I think this is worth making is because choosing a partner is probably one of the most, if not the most, important decision you'll ever make in your life. And from a man's point of view, a good woman, they're like an elevator. They can take you all the way up beyond any point you ever thought you could go, or they can take you all the way down. And as I said earlier, this goes for men and women, right? Like a bad partner can ruin your fucking life, mate. So you need to make absolutely sure you get this decision right. Before I list all of these qualities, no woman is ever gonna be all of these things all of the time. And women, just like men, are human. They're gonna fuck up. They're gonna make mistakes. But I'm just saying that broadly speaking, if they've got these general qualities, they're a keeper. So I thought I'd start with a quality that isn't quite as sexy as you might have expected. It's not the big bum. It's not the big boobs. It's competency. And what is competency, really? For me, it's the ability to look at someone else and be able to trust them and know that they've got a general level of common sense and intelligence that they can figure a way through tricky situations, which life will throw at you. This is about the long game here. An organised woman, to me, is like fucking Wonder Woman. I don't know how they do it, because I'm a shit show sometimes. Because tits and arse are great, but peace of mind is a treasure greater than gold. And a woman who is competent and you know you can trust to just get things done is going to make your life in the long run so much better. And I know young men out there do not think about this anywhere near enough, lads. But I'm telling you, think about this. Because life does get hard. And for some of you out there, it could get really hard. I'm talking, you never know if you're going to be out of work for any reason, mental or physical. You could have a death in your family and it could completely destroy you one day. And you might need someone who can pick up the pieces with you and be able to lean on them. And if they've got you and they're capable, you'll never, ever go wrong. So things like running a home, finances, admin, you know, even cooking and cleaning. I know it's not 1920s anymore. And I don't expect anyone to be Gordon fucking Ramsay, by the way. I'm just saying, like, the basics of life. It's really great if a woman's got a bit of that about her. And you don't even have to know it all to start off with. You know, if you're meeting a woman when she's younger, you can't expect her to know everything. But if she shows that, like, she's capable and she applies herself, to me, that is a great quality. I'm impulsive, for example. So sometimes I'm not thinking about the long-term consequences of stuff. Competent women will do that for you. They make great mothers. You know, obviously, when it comes to children, you're wanting someone who you know you can trust to just be on top of things, what could go wrong and all of that sort of stuff. They're responsible and they're trustworthy and you can count on them. And all these things might not be that sexy again, but they're fucking valuable. Like I said, life is hard, and as men we think we're indestructible, but one day you might not be. And a competent woman is like having a gun in the house, right? If that day comes when you need it, you'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. So shout out to all you competent women, because without you we'd be fucked. This is where I get a little bit more toxic, I've got to be honest, a little bit more selfish, but forgive me. The next quality is putting you first. And I know that's going to trigger you, but let me explain before you... He's a selfish bastard! And yes, I am sometimes, but that's not the point. It's about all men. Right? We can all be a little bit like this. Because again, men and women, we all like to be put first. And it's important in relationships to know that you see eye to eye and you know where you stand with each other. You don't want uncertainty. You don't want game playing. You want your cards on the table and you want to know where you stand. And for me, if you're in a relationship with someone, you should be number one. Unless you've got kids or whatever, which obviously does complicate things, but you get the point. So you don't want any game playing, like text messages taking forever to come back because you're scared to be the one who's showing more interest. Or even things like, if it gets more serious and, you know, you're ill, she's got plans with the girls to go on a night out, you're fucking cancelling them. I'm fucking dying, yeah, I need you to look after us. Maybe something like that. Those are the opportunities where people have to show how much that they prioritize you in their life. And by the way, men, I'm expecting the same back from you, because it doesn't just work one way. I found that out the hard way a few times. Got dumped. Just to be clear, I'm not saying that you've got to be controlling and that's just not allowed any friends and all of that other crazy shit that people do. I'm just saying that when it's important and when it matters, you prioritize each other. Because as important as all of these other people in your life are, in the long run, it's used to against the world. And the quicker you both realize that, the closer you'll end up becoming. Now, for some people, they just don't want to do that. You know, they treat their friends the same as their partner and their family and all of that. And they just don't want to put anyone on a pedestal, and they value their friends so much that they can't possibly. If they're not in that frame of mind, that's fine. That doesn't make them a bad person. But equally, if your goal is to prioritize the relationship and you want to be their priority and you're willing to prioritize them, well, you have to have the same goals. Otherwise, you're always going to be in conflict and that it won't work. Oh, this is where it's, Yeah, I'm going to bring out my laptop for this one. Now, this next quality is femininity, which is kind of a basic. It might not make sense, but hopefully I can make sense of this for you. Because for me, feminine energy from a woman is one of the best qualities a woman can have. And masculine energy from a woman can often clash with men, in my opinion. So here's how a woman can sound and act when they're in their masculine energy.
Hey, babe. Did you take out the trash? Why not? It's Tuesday. You know it comes every Tuesday. You know what? It's fine. I'll do it. I do everything around here anyway, so nothing new.
Yeah, because I'm an idiot, aren't I? I'm an idiot. Sorry. Natural reaction to sort of respond. That's her in her masculine. This is her in her feminine energy.
Hello, my love. How was work? That's good. Hey, baby, do you mind taking out the trash for me? Thank you.
And she's basically asking for the same thing there. Take the trash out. But it's the way she communicates it in such a feminine way that for men, it's just music to our ears.
What if you keep asking him to take out the trash and he won't do it?
Stop calling me out on my shit, right? I'm helping people out here.
So what do you think the solution is for women? Just to accept that we communicate differently and that you're going to forget, but we just have to ask you nicely?
I wasn't expecting follow-up questions. Maybe use the reward of sex. That's my best advice out there. Sorry. I'm sorry, no, I've got to be better. I'm better than this now. Do it yourself. Yeah. Basically, the point I'm getting at is that women might not realise sometimes how different things come across depending on what setting they're on, whether that be masculine or feminine. Men are a lot more aware because when men speak to men, we have consequences. Like, if I don't talk to this man in the right way, I'm going to get a stiff bang in the face. Women don't have to worry about that as much, do you know what I mean? But it's still nice to be spoken to in a feminine way. For me personally, it's like music, you know what I mean? I love it. I just put it in a woman's hands when they're like that. Because as a man, I'm pre-programmed for when women are very feminine and gentle and soft to just be like, oh my God, whatever you want, it can, you know what I mean? Yeah. The answer's yes.
Okay, but when I asked you nicely to take
it wasn't the same though. Fuck off. Fuck off. When you think about masculine traits, it's like aggressive, it's tough, it's hard. When a woman has that energy, towards a man, you naturally feel challenged because as men, that's how we challenge each other. Unfortunately, a lot of women don't even realize they're doing this, right? It's not a deliberate thing. They're not being a bad person. They might have just grown up in a household where men and women didn't communicate at all because maybe they've had a single mother, or they watched a mother and father who argued constantly and clashed constantly. And maybe, the woman was just sick of the bloke and didn't bother using feminine energy towards him anymore. And yeah, that sometimes just happens, right? But I'm just saying, in an ideal scenario, when a woman can talk to her man in a feminine way, it's beautiful and we love it. As men, we just love it. And I've seen relationships where you've had a masculine, where the woman was very masculine, even more masculine than the man. The man eventually just bows down and constantly gives in to everything because he thinks he's going to get an easier life out of it, and ends up just withering away into a shell of a man. And that's not good for any man. And I'm not saying it's good for anyone in a relationship to be constantly aggressive and highly strung, and do you know what I mean? Like, it's just not a good quality. But what I'm saying is men in particular cannot deal with that in the long run because we're supposed to be the masculine ones. And that's where you'll see these toxic cycles of break up, make up, shag, because they're too alike. They're constantly clashing, these two people. It doesn't mean anyone's a bad person. It's just they're not compatible. And generally men will not be compatible with masculine women. But sometimes they are because they're more feminine men, and then, in which case it's fine. But I'm willing to bet that the majority of men watching this right now are quite masculine. So I'm just going to give you the broad advice for what I think most of you will be like. Is that fair? You really know how to make me feel better.
I nodded.
I know people in relationships who really love each other. But trust me on this, love is not enough. A lot of people want to bridge so many different gaps where they're so far apart on different things because they love that person. But if it doesn't work functionally and you don't click and you're not gelling and fitting where each other needs each other to fit, it doesn't matter how much you love each other, it will never fucking work. And this is one of the key ways that it can often not work, in my opinion, if your energies are completely conflicting with one another. And masculine is a common way that it fucks up these days. Because a lot of this comes down to no fathers in the home. I've got to be honest, like, I didn't want to go on a fucking rant about this, but that would have helped for all of us just to witness how a man and a woman behave together. But now we're not getting those lessons as kids, so we're fucking making it up now when we're 30s and no one's got a fucking tutorial to go off of. I've really gone off on a rant here, haven't I? Sorry.
Yeah, but to be honest,
sorry.
You should just speak from the heart.
I am. I'm not trying to trigger anyone here. And let me be clear, no woman is soft and gentle all of the time. That is impossible. Every woman I've ever met has the lioness in her, and that's a great thing. You need a bit of backbone, you need a bit of aggression every now and then when it's time to tell someone they've crossed the line and set your boundaries. But I'm just saying to the men out there, if you're consistently in a state where that switch is being flicked and the lioness is always out, it's going to be a long road, mate. My next quality would be someone who's respectful. I think men really prioritize respect quite high on the list. For women, things like being loving, etc., come very high. I don't think women understand just how important that is to how we feel about ourselves, especially if they're respectful of us. And part of that's our fault because, we bottle things up, we don't communicate our feelings. We're pretty shite at that. To be fair to them, they are guessing half the time. But in a relationship, you will share things with each other. You will open up and tell each other some really deep and dark secrets. And you are then giving someone the keys, essentially, to throw that back at you, and potentially that could rock you to your very core. So you need someone who knows never to go there. Once you've given that vulnerability, to never hit you where it hurts like that. Because that power that you've given them, in the right hands, it can uplift you and make you overcome things like trauma and heal where you didn't think possible before. But in the wrong hands, it can fucking destroy you. And men, when we get really wounded, sometimes we never look at that person the same way again. And that's when you fucked it. Because a man will just keep going through the motions in a relationship, right? He doesn't want to end it. He still has love for her, but he never ever feels the same as he did before that line was crossed. So if women are out there listening to this, just bear that in mind. Don't push the red button. Even when he's fucked up, save it. Like I'm telling you. And then if one day you realise, yeah, it's fucked, it's over, then you can push it if you want, I suppose. Fucking hell. Advice on how to be toxic. That wasn't where I thought this was going. Because men, we're built around ego a bit. So we want our woman to think highly of us, to put us on a pedestal a little bit. And I know some women are kind of afraid to do that, because if you build a man up too much, you might fucking think he's all that and go and fucking cheat on you. And that is a bit of a worry that women have. But a good man, if you hold him in high regard, will be so fucking grateful for that. A lot of that is what we bring to the table as well. We need to act like someone who deserves to be held in high regard. We need to carry ourselves well. We need to respect the woman as well to get that from them. But providing you're doing all of those things right, she should be holding you in high regard. And if she isn't, I wouldn't accept it. I'm talking about stuff like how she talks about you and to you in public, in front of friends. This sort of stuff's really important, because disrespecting a man in private is one thing. Disrespecting a man in public is a whole nother ballgame. I have seen men in bars being mugged off by their girlfriends, drunken and acting like fucking crazed lunatics, when ordinarily they wouldn't do that. But they feel so humiliated, it's bringing the absolute worst out in them. And maybe she had a right to do that. But the point is like, you should be treated with absolute respect in public situations especially. And look, yeah, people make mistakes. You forgive, you forget. If it's a one-off, it's not the end of the world. But this is generally the way it should be. Because a woman who makes a man feel respected is a genius. I'm letting you know this, right? Women out there, you are a fucking genius if you work this out. I know that there's a worry that you put a man up on a pedestal and he takes the piss, and you don't want that to happen. But if you make a man feel like a king, you've basically got him, because that is very, very rare. And it's a great thing to do for someone. And we always want to bring out the best in our partners. And speaking personally, when women have treated me like that, it's brought out the best in me. Little things like giving you compliments, talking about how appreciative they are and valuing your time together. Nothing major. I'm not talking about a load of fucking presents or anything like that. It's all in the way you speak to each other. So the next one is a positive attitude. Now, this is a bit of a personal one, because I can be a bit of a miserable bastard, to be honest. So having a positive woman, it just balances things out. A positive woman is like a fucking battery. You can be draining of energy, and that smile and positivity and yes, we can do this will just keep you going out of nowhere. And it's such an underrated attribute in women. By comparison, obviously someone who's always negative and moaning, that's like carrying around a fucking bowling ball, right? It's not practical, it's a dead weight, and it ain't helping anything. And again, this can be for men or women. It's very basic. Life is gonna throw shit at us, right? Together. And if you're looking across the room at someone who's got a smile on their face, and you know, it's impossible to be positive all the time, but it's generally positive. It's the difference between waking up in the morning and feeling like there's fucking sunshines and rainbows, or it's fucking thunder and lightning. It impacts everything. And having a positive woman behind you as a man, it makes you feel like you can achieve anything. That goes back to that old saying of behind every good man is an even better woman. There's fucking truth in that, except in my situation where I'm the better man than she is the woman, because isn't that right? Treat them mean, keep them keen. Fucking hell.
Such an idiot.
And a basic example of this is like gratitude, right? Men, we love gratitude. Who doesn't? Women do, I'm sure, but men, we will do things in the hopes of just seeing a smile on a woman's face and to know that she feels cared about, and we've done this thing, whatever it might be, and it worked. It paid off. We got that lovely reaction. If that reaction ain't there, and you're always getting complaints, misery, negativity, yada yada, we just give up. We give up. Guaranteed. That train is never late when you aren't getting the positive affirmations that you're looking for. And again, I'm not expecting backflips or anything exaggerated, but this is just important to men. Now, the last one is probably the most basic one of all, but it's possibly the most important. Kindness. Because everyone can be nice for 3 to 6 months, can't we? But then the real person comes out. Surprise! You're with a fucking psycho. Let's not kid ourselves. We've all been there. In relationships, you are going to fuck up. Everyone does. We are going to say dumb shit, hurtful things. You're going to test each other, especially if it lasts, obviously, to a point where you never thought possible. You're going to be heartbroken. You're going to borderline hate each other for seconds, if not hours sometimes. That's actually quite normal. It's what that brings out in the process. How you recover, how you apologize, how you go about kissing and making up, and making sure you avoid those mistakes in the future, and showing continuous kindness to each other to forgive, but repair and build a healthy relationship. It takes a lot of kindness to manage that. And sometimes that kindness just won't be there. Now, some people are just wrong for each other. We've covered that already. But sometimes, some people are just arseholes. And yeah, you just need to get the fuck out of that situation in that moment. But what you're hoping for in that partner is when you do look beneath the surface and you look deep into their heart, generally, they're a good person. And there are signs to look for. How do they treat people who have no impact on them? You know, like not someone who they can gain from if they're nice to, just someone who is totally irrelevant to their life. Do they still have empathy for those people? Generally, if they do, that's a great sign. For example, with women, all women love a gossip, right? They talk about their friends, their family, everyone. Yeah, you'll say some things that are critical of people you love. But do they still say, yeah, but I love them anyway, and still speak in a loving and caring way about the people who are the closest to them? Because if there's none of that there and it's just the bitching, probably a bad sign. And the thing about these uber kind women is they can't do enough for you, right? They just give and give and give. And as a man, we probably can fall into the trap, I know I have, of take. So definitely don't do that. Because as men, we love being mothered and cared for and all of that. And we can take the piss sometimes, right? And I'm just saying, don't fall into that habit. Make sure you are giving as well. Make it a competition of who can give the most. That's when you're really, not literally a competition, but that's when you're really cooking on gas and you're both bringing stuff to the table. What does she need to make sure that her kindness doesn't feel like it's being taken advantage of? Now, sometimes women will show you that they're not that kind, but you'll tolerate it because she's got a great arse. And I've done that before as well. Don't do it. When they show you who they are, believe them. Stop making excuses because you love the arse. I didn't expect to say this, but here we are. And I've heard women say the exact same thing about tolerating a dickhead of a man because he's good in bed, right? So we all do this. That's the point. But if you're a man or a woman and you're falling into a pattern in a relationship where someone's continuously triggering you deliberately when you've been explicit and been completely clear that I don't want you to do this to me anymore, and they keep doing it anyway, that's when you have to believe them. And go, right, you're showing me who you are. If you keep apologizing, but then you keep repeating the behavior, you're not sorry. And that's where the kindness element comes into it, because you're actually being quite cruel here. And cruelty is one of the worst qualities a person can have, in my opinion. And look, we're all a bit fucked up. And in some of the bad things I've mentioned here are probably in all of us a little bit. And some of the good things are as well. But I'm just saying, generally speaking, if you can see all of these qualities in your partner, you're onto a great thing. And if you're out there looking, like a lot of you lads are when you message me, these are good things to look for. Because people are like drains and radiators. Drains will drain you, and a radiator will keep you warm in the winter. And the winter is when you're getting old. And you are going to get old. And one day you might wish you'd thought about all this shit. So lads, I hope this has rubbed off on you, and I hope that there's a little bit of something that you can take from this, because I know we get excited by women's beauty, but there is more to it, and hopefully this has given you some food for thought. So if you want us to do a few more of these, let me know in the comments below. I've only done this to try and help some of you lot. I'm not trying to piss anyone off. I hope I haven't offended anyone. It's literally coming from a good place. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. Don't forget, hit that like button. Stay subscribed to the True Geordie YouTube channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.